And what took from 3 hours to do by hand was 17 minutes. It was the best Christmas present I've ever gotten. Hi, I'm Pam Ellenberger. My husband Paul and I have Bentley Farm outside of Reading, Pennsylvania. And we raise alpacas and llamas, sheep, goats, pigs, and a bunch of other animals. We've been here since 2011 on 55 acres. Mainly 37 and a half is what we work. The rest is hay fields and woods. And we have had our 1500 Pro since 2015, and it's been a great machine for keeping the pastures clean and our animals healthy. And we just today got our upgraded one. So we're looking forward to another 9 years with a great machine. We don't use a lot of chemicals on the farm. So for our animals, we try to use herbs and essential oils as much as we can, but also manure management and keeping the pastures clean is part of keeping the parasite loads down and the animals healthy. So alpacas tend to drop their manure in piles rather than over the field like the goats or the sheep do. So it concentrates and it actually doesn't help the land. It actually makes a dead spot where they won't eat and the grass won't grow very well. So by picking up the manure, we then compost it. And after it's composted, then we put it out on the pastures as fertilizer. So we're not having the dead zones where they won't eat. It spreads it out better. It keeps the pastures cleaner. So the one pasture that we use the most for our female alpacas and llama is, it took 3 hours to clean up, to really get it clean by doing it by hand. And so at one point we bought a pasture vac. So that cut the time in about half, but it got heavy. It couldn't work at all if it was the least bit wet. The manure was the least bit wet, so it limited us to do it. So my husband loves to do research for things, and so he was looking, and then he found this pasture vac, the Tow and Collect, and I got it as a Christmas present. And what took from 3 hours to do by hand to about an hour and a half to do with the other one was 17 minutes. It was the best Christmas present I've ever gotten. And it just made it doable faster and easier and actually a better pickup. That's how we ended up with it. And it's been amazing. The machine picks up everything. You know, whether it's in the pile or around the edge of the pile, it cleans up the whole area really, really well. It does the yeoman's job of picking up all of the beans, whether it's alpaca, sheep, goat, even pig. We've gone through and picked up the pastures from the pigs. And you can just do one good solid trip around the yard and it's done. So again, my husband was on his internet, just sort of messing around, and found out that there's been improvements in those 9 years where it's now hydraulics. And as we get older, we're trying to do more that is smarter and less heavy lifting. So to have the machine be able to go up and down by itself, to open, to drain, instead of cranking it, to open it, to empty it, that's why we got the new machine. Our machine's been working great, so that wasn't the reason to change over. It truly was that we're getting older. And the idea that the hydraulics can do a lot of the lifting, the emptying, and that you can do it while you're on the ATV by the remote, not having to get off and back on. Like we had to do when you had to crank it. When you finished in the pasture, you had to get off, crank it up, come over, crank it to unload it. But this way you can just stay on the ATV, use the remote, turn it off, go to the dump area, turn it on, and dump it all with the remote. Now that we have the new machine, We actually have not cleaned the pasture, waiting for this one to come. So that was worse than it usually is. And this machine did not disappoint. I'm expecting great things from this.